Well, hey there, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Legends and Loggers. We're now on episode 2, and my name is Zac Wohlstein. I am an outdoor television producer, and I'm joined by my co-host and brother,
Parker Wohlstein, and I am a forester and a wildlife biologist.
And today we have got one of the biggest names in cryptozoology, the terror of Point Pleasant, the high-flying mystery, the lamp-loving Leviathan. I don't actually know if Leviathan works here, but regardless, we're going to talk about Mothman, and I'd say that's probably one of the top 3 most well-known cryptids. Wouldn't you agree?
I would probably say so. I'd say Bigfoot / any large hairy humanoid.
Yeah.
Mothman, and probably Nessie.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Loch Ness Monster is probably number 3.
I think Nessie gets its way in there because it's not too scary. It's kind of more... People can get into it more, like even the general public that's not really into this kind of stuff.
Yeah. And I'd honestly
say top 3.
I don't know about you, but I mean, you've actually been to like Point Pleasant and whatnot, so you can you know more about this than me, I'd say. But before doing the research here, I actually didn't know that much about Mothman.
There's some crazy stuff that goes along with it. I mean,
yeah, there is.
You kind of just look at the base layer lore. Which was what I was mainly familiar with. You know, you're just like, oh, it's this kind of black-looking, maybe moth-looking thing, big black bird, nobody knows. But yeah, especially whenever we went and saw the Mothman Museum, there was a lot of stuff. Like, I didn't know about the Men in Black that was associated with it, and kind of all the high strangeness that went around all the encounters that were really popular. I got this shirt there.
Nice.
I got this Mothman research team thing that I'll be using for my beer this fine evening. And you know I took a selfie with America's favorite shiny metal steel booty.
Oh, yeah. That's
the Mothman sculpture, baby.
I remember you sending me that picture, yeah.
Oh, yeah. If you go, you got to take a picture.
Do you have that photo still?
Yeah. That's
okay,
America's
all right.
butt right there.
That's going in the episode. Send me that.
Mm-hmm. Sculpted. Perfect.
But now before...
Who had to do a moth like that? Anyway, before we talk about Mothman, Zach, what are you drinking tonight?
Well, I am drinking... It's actually not a lager. We're 2 episodes in and I'm already switched away from a lager. We got 2 Hoots. It's a hard iced tea. And we'll talk about why it's 2 Hoots later.
Nice. I wanted to find something from West Virginia, but I was in Kentucky, so I decided to go with Dreaming Creek, their Natural Bridge beer here.
That's a pretty can.
Yeah, it's an IPA made out of Richmond, Kentucky. I picked it because Kentucky's woods are basically the same thing as West Virginia's woods, so I figured it would fit enough, and doesn't matter anyway because it's going in the Mothman research.
Yeah, there you go.
And we'll call that good.
All right. You want to crack this bad boy open?
Well, why is it called 2 Hoots?
We'll talk about it later, fellas.
Oh, okay.
It's a mystery. That's a mystery.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Oh! I think I shook mine a little bit.
There you go.
The first sip was all foam. All right, here we go. Our first actual sip.
I forgot it's a tea. It tastes like tea.
Oh!
Yeah.
Who knew?
Now, this one, it's not like, what's that super popular one the kids like? Twisted tea.
Twisted tea.
Yeah, it's not as sugary as Twisted tea, and I appreciate that. I've gotten into tea recently, so alcoholic tea, pretty cool.
This one, it's less hoppy than a lot of IPAs that I've had. This is an IPA, if I didn't say that.
Mm-hmm.
It's more mild, which I'm down with. I'm not super huge into the like extremely hoppy stuff like your double IPAs, and not my thing. I mean, I'll have them every once in a while, but yeah, it's good. Tastes natural. Tastes like a bridge.
I'll say it. I like hops, and I'm tired of pretending that I don't.
Oh, then you must be a friggin' frog. All right, let's get into it.
To kick off the show with the frog pun, let's go. All right. Well,
Let's hop into it.
hey! You know what? Screw Mothman. Let's go right to the Loveland frog people, right?
Yeah.
You know what? Write these down. We'll bring back these exact same jokes. So first things first. What is Mothman? Now, most descriptions of Mothman describe him as being a 5 to 7 foot tall winged humanoid with a 10-foot wingspan. That, despite his name, actually seems to have more in common with an owl than a moth. It has never been described as having feathers or fur. Most depictions describe him as having more of like a leathery skin body. Like, I was gonna say like bats, but actually bats do have fur. But like bat wings.
Yeah. Well, those are just skin.
Yeah. So it's got skin, guys. It's got skin, supposedly. Another common description is that it almost appears headless and that it does not really have a neck. So its head is like flat with its shoulders. So like instead of getting all this going on above it, just kind of gets cut off right there. Oh wait, show me your shirt. Show me your shirt.
Part. This is one of the more like freaky artist interpretations.
Yeah, for real. Look at those giant eyes.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if you can catch this. It's got his tour dates.
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about the last one there, the
1969.
Ohio one. We're sticking to West Virginia for this one, but that's awesome.
Yeah.
So for the audio listeners, it's got like a pretty graphic not graphic, but like a more realistic.
Yeah, and it says Mothman World Tour 1966, and it's got all the dates of the sightings on the back.
Yeah, and we're going to be talking about pretty much all those sightings that were on there today. So, last week's episode, we talked about Goatman, and we dealt with a creature that goes as far back as recorded history itself, really. But today, our legend begins in 1966, just like Mothman's tour. We start off in rural West Virginia. It takes place in a small town called Clendenin on October 12th. A small group of gravediggers were prepping a cemetery when they noticed something big fly above them. They described it as being a brown human shape with wings, and they saw it launch into the air and take flight from behind some trees. They described this flying humanoid as being far too large to be a bird, though they only got one glance at it, so there are no further details. Now, only 3 days later, two married couples were out on a drive through an area known as the TNT area, and remember that, we're going to be talking about that later. When they noticed two large glowing red lights, they realized that they weren't looking at lights, they were looking at giant eyes. Eyes described as being 2 inches in diameter and 6 inches apart.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I had to break out a ruler. Like, I'm impressed that they could just like look at it and then be like, oh, that looks like about 2 inches in diameter, perhaps 6 inches apart.
This was in the 60s when people actually did hard
People
work.
were smart, yeah.
Yeah, he was probably some carpenter that had a reference for sizes.
They described the creature as being humanoid and about 6 or 7 feet tall and having giant wings with a wingspan of 10 feet. Now, if I saw a creature like that, I'd be pretty freaking terrified, and so are these couples. So they took off after seeing this creature, and hopped in their car, and hightailed it on out of there. They were heading down Highway 62, pushing about 100 miles an hour just to realize that they were being followed by the creature. It followed them until they got into town, and they thought that they lost him downtown. Once they thought that they were safe, they began to head back towards Route 62 just to find themselves back in the crosshairs of this nightmarish creature. It was during this encounter that the headlights of the car hit the creature, and they got a brief glimpse of what the monster that was chasing them looked like. They now know that this wasn't a bird or any animal known to man. After being hit by the bright lights of the vehicle, the creature took off above the tree line and was quickly out of sight. After this final encounter...
there we know it's not Mothman.
Oh, yeah?
Because the lights hit it. And
yeah.
So, clearly,
it's clearly not a moth. Yeah, no moth in mind would go away from a light.
Definitely some bird.
Yeah, or man. After this final encounter, the two couples head straight to the courthouse to alert the sheriff of what they'd experienced. That night, Sheriff George Johnson and Deputy Miller Halstead head out to the TNT area to search this creature, but to no avail. Also, can we just take a second to acknowledge this place is called the TNT area? Like, that's sick, right?
Well, yeah, it could go multiple ways. If it's like named after AC/DC, that's pretty cool. But at that time. If
it just plays TNT year round.
Yeah, if it's just littered with TNT and it's a highly dangerous and volatile place, then that's probably not that cool either.
But it's still a cool name, though.
If it's a place that's been like made barren by them just blasting TNT over and over.
Well, that's pretty
not
sad.
very cool
Yeah,
either.
that's not very rad. Yeah, okay. All right, now the next morning, Linda Scarberry, one of the 4 people being chased by Mothman, was taken to the hospital by her father following a nervous breakdown. So, yeah, that's the first big encounter, like the most well documented, like most cited one when they talk about Mothman.
Do they have any descriptions of like the nervous breakdown, or is it like one of those
I
like
could not find any.
1940s, like they see a bad guy in a western and he puts on like a black mask and all the women,
Oh my stars! And then they get smacked or whatever. They're like, snap
oh
out
my
of it.
lands.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't say, but just the fact that she was taken to the hospital makes me think that it was something like decently serious, you know? And
Sure.
and to me, like, even if like this is like documented, it's not just like they say she went to the hospital. Like, no, there's like records that she did go to the hospital. So regardless of whether or not they actually saw Mothman, like they saw something. Like she was genuinely freaked out about something.
Something spooked her.
Yeah. Now, all right. Stop number 2 number 3 on the tour. On that same night, a man named Newell Partridge was watching TV in his Salem home, just about 90 miles from Point Pleasant. At around 10:30 at night, his television screen suddenly went dark just to crackle back to life with an odd pattern. Newell's dog then began barking and seemed to have been riled up by something. Newell then went outside with his flashlight to investigate. Whenever he shone his flashlight in the direction of the barn, he was startled to see a set of 2 large red illuminated eyes staring back at him. Newell's dog saw the same sight and took off towards the creature and was never seen again. Now,
That dog is awesome. He
Yeah, right.
said-
What a good dog, dude.
Yeah, he's like, that thing is coming from my owner, and it took off. It said, I don't care if it's a moth, I don't care if it's a man, I don't care if it's a daggum sandhill crane. I'm
Didn't
getting
even
it.
take. Oh, Sandhill Crane, huh?
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. But he took one look at that creature and just chased after it. Didn't have to think about it. Now, okay, so one thing that's crazy, though, is I did see one source that says that Roger Scarberry, Linda's husband, one of the people that was there that first night, he said that earlier that night they had seen a large dog laying on the side of the road before their encounter with the creature. So, could this be Newell's dog?
I thought this happened after, though. Because he said
No. This happened. Well, we don't know. I don't have a time for when their encounter happened, so I just know it happened the same night.
Gotcha. I've spent some time out in West Virginia. And, there's a whole lot of dead things along the side of the road.
I've seen more than one
at any
dead.
given time.
All right, now my personal thoughts. Let's do some math right quick, okay? If Salem is 90 miles from Point Pleasant, and so okay, Salem is 90 miles from Point Pleasant. That means that this creature, this Mothman, had to grab that dog, book it halfway across West Virginia, going what I assume is 100 miles an hour. And I've seen accounts saying that he is supposedly can fly 100 miles an hour. But I just love the idea of like, I'm sorry, it's bad to say, but like a dead dog like being carried by Mothman just flapping in the wind at like 100 miles an hour.
It's all right. I made a dead dog joke in the last episode.
Nice.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that'd take Mothman to a new level if he's like,
Carrying
I'm gonna,
like a 50, 60 pound dog.
First, I'm going to turn off his program because they're from the 60s and they call every show a program.
Yep.
So he turns off this guy's program. He's like, what's going on? Kills his dog, books it out of there like he's on the lam, and just drops it off strategically where this couple will see it.
Yeah.
After, whenever he is currently going to spook them.
And then he turns to the other like forest critters and it's like, watch this. Like,
all the squirrels are like, what's this guy doing?
yeah, right. Like, so that I just saw this article saying like he saw a dog and then somebody put those 2 dots together, and my thought is absolutely not. That's
there's a lot of dead animals in West Virginia.
A lot of dead animals in West Virginia, and just the idea of a creature booking it 90 miles out to see like to go drop off this dog. That's
just for
bizarre.
the meme of it.
Yeah, just to mess with this poor family or 2 couples. But anyways, okay, so after these initial sightings, a local newspaper ran an article saying that 8 people have seen the creature. So more sightings were starting to stack up aside from these ones that we were just talking about. most of which centered around this TNT area. So what is this infamous TNT area? In short, it is an area surrounding an old World War II TNT plant. So kind of like what you were talking about, Fuzz. There's a lot of like pollution and stuff going on there, you know, or a lot of chemicals and whatnot around.
Yeah, TNT probably isn't one of the cleanest manufacturing.
Can't imagine
processes.
it's environmentally friendly. Yeah.
Actually, TNT I think is like mainly gunpowder. Don't quote me on that. And I definitely don't know how to make TNT.
Do you really not?
I know how to make plenty of other stuff.
You got real quiet for a second there.
So I know how to make the West Virginia special. Meth, baby.
Do you really?
No.
Parker, I have an idea. Let's talk about it after the show. So,
return to our roots.
Yeah. So this TNT area is made up of hundreds of acres of woods that contain large concrete domes used to store explosives during the war. Now, World War II specifically.
Cool.
You can actually look up pictures of these bunker-esque looking domes, and they're pretty cool. I'll put one on the screen for you video viewers, but if not, I recommend checking it out. It's pretty crazy. This area is known today as the McClintock Wildlife Management Area, and it is home to many different species of animals as well as 29 different ponds. Lots of animals and a good bit of land that is not easily accessible by man. So, kind of makes it the ideal spot for all sorts of critters and maybe even Mothman.
So you're telling me I can go frogging where they used to make TNT and where Mothman would just flew around the skies?
Yeah, maybe drop off a dog above your head or something.
29 ponds. I'm just out there catching salamanders, grabbing bullfrogs, stuffing them in my bag, seeing Mothman, stuffing him in my bag.
Frankly, it's a Appalachian paradise, all right?
Yeah, anything with legs is getting cooked that night.
Oh, my God. But, all right, anyways, hopping back on track, we've got another encounter in this TNT area hotbed. A man named Raymond Wamsley and his wife travel. Yeah, I know, right? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, anybody named Wamsley.
I'm sorry, Raymond, if you're out there.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I also...
Raymond Wamsley.
I also had to pause for a second. Wamsley, that sounds like just like a made-up last name or something. I don't know. Okay. Sorry. Truly apologize to anybody named Wamsley. Me and Fuzz can't say anything. Our last name's Wohlstein. That's pretty silly.
Yeah.
But, all right, a man named... It sounds like it. Like, I just imagine somebody that can't pronounce their R's. Yeah. And his name's actually like Ramsey.
My
name's Raymond Ramsey.
Life of Brian by Monty Python. There's the Roman emperor with the lisp.
Yeah. Biggest. Dicketh.
Yep.
All right, so a man named Raymond Wamsley and his wife were traveling with their friend Marcella Bennett and her baby Tina to visit a friend that lived within the TNT area. That's right, apparently people live here.
Also, I'd like to point out, I'm seeing how Tina is spelled, and that is classic West Virginia right there.
Oh, yes, it is Teena.
That's
for you
awesome.
Yeah. After their visit, while heading to the car, a humanoid creature popped up from behind a parked vehicle. Marcel had said that it seemed like the creature had been lying down and had slowly raised up from the ground into view. She described
All right. For all the listeners out there, you might be asking yourself, why was Mothman laying on the ground? That's because Mothman is a West Virginian, and he was stealing their catalytic converter. And why he's always flying around the TNT plant is because he's stripping all the copper out of their wires. All the copper wires out of their daggone building. Oh he's just crawling underneath cars, spooking people out of their cars.
Mothman's a West Virginian through and through.
Oh man, he's representing. If it seems like I'm making fun of West Virginia, I love West Virginia. If you're from West Virginia,
beautiful place.
I love you.
Yeah,
I love that state.
Yeah,
been there many times.
Yeah, great state.
We're from Kentucky, so we can't really.
We're really the same type of people, and I would say the same about Kentucky. I don't know about you, brother. I would say the same.
Yeah, that Mothman, boy, I know he was stealing them catalytic converters.
Yeah, Mothman like slowly raises up from behind the car. He's like, "Oh, hey there.
Y'all got any money? It's real itchy wearing this skin, not feathers and stuff.
This normal human skin."
And the red eyes is just him methed out.
Oh my God,
so bloodshot.
Yeah.
He's holding the catalytic converter under one arm. Or no, he's holding it up on his shoulder so it makes it look like it's flat across.
Mothman's just like a redneck scumbag. That's all he is.
That's my new theory.
Oh my god, that's the best theory, dude. All right.
Because otherwise, you have no explanation for why he was laying down. Moths don't get tired.
We got to get back on track. Moths don't get tired.
So yeah, I imagine that he comes up from underneath the car. He's got that 10mm wrench. And he drops it because he's spooked that there's someone there. And he goes,
I figured y'all's car was abandoned, so I figured I'd help out myself and take that converter from
yeah, and they're only parked for like 15 minutes. Come outside and see him there. He's got a pile of like catalytic converters and dead dogs.
He's just got him in the middle of the TNT area, and he sits on this weird dragon. It's just, and each one is wrapped in copper wire.
Yeah. He's not selling them. He just likes them.
He's got like catalytic converters. He's got his copper. He's got his grizzly wintergreen. his Marlboro Reds. He's just got all these piles that surround. Each one of those concrete domes in the TNT area is a stash of stuff.
Oh my god.
But shine. He's got a shine stash.
Yeah.
Imagine like he hits a tree or something. One of the times that he spooks somebody, he comes up, he's got a broke wing, and he goes,
"Hey y'all, I know y'all are fixing to turn me into Kjarn on this road here, but can you please help me?" All the bunch of like, "I hurting real bad. Just please don't run me over. I don't want to become Kjarn tonight. Please no."
Oh my god.
Oh man!
Or he just sees the light. He's like, I just saw y'all's got a nice bright light. I just figured I'd come take a look at it.
Can y'all take a look at this wound or what? I'm hurt bad, boss. I'm hurt bad.
They take off in the opposite direction. He's like, I'll follow y'all. You're gonna take me to the hospital?
Oh, I get it now, y'all. I'll meet you there. My kinfolk will meet you at the Dairy Queen. They'll be right behind you.
Like, all right. So yeah, she saw him on the ground and slowly raised up into view. She described it as being large and gray with growing red eyes. Yeah, it just keeps getting bigger. She described it as being large and gray with glowing red eyes, and she was so shocked by the appearance of this creature that she had reportedly dropped her daughter.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I know. It said earlier that I couldn't figure out the actual age of the daughter, but it said baby earlier, so I imagine she just drops this poor infant.
Poor T-E-N-A, Tina.
Yeah. So she then regained herself, picked up her daughter, and ran back to the house to safety.
You forgetted your baby.
Oh my god. But all right. So then back safely in the house, they had called the police and told them that they could hear the creature walk onto the porch and then saw it peering through the windows.
I know y'all seen me.
I just need some cigarettes or something and I'll get out of your hair.
Y'all got any cigarettes in there?
Yeah.
Any Marlboro Reds?
God. Like, it's funny because as I was doing the research for this, I was like, man, that's actually, like, if you imagine that, like, that's pretty scary. And
then you talked to me and I ruined it.
well, yeah, now, like that initial line, like, imagining Mothman peer through the windows, that gave me chills. And then now reading it, I laughed, like, just imagining this methed out.
Y'all got any Faygo for the Insane Clown Posse?
Oh my god. Oh gosh.
I hate that I know what they drink.
Faygo. But yeah, so that is the next encounter. What are your thoughts about that one?
That's all silliness set aside. That's definitely a freakier one.
That's the scariest one to me.
Especially if you're like a new mother and you get freaked out enough to like just straight up drop your baby,
Yeah, right.
then either you're a West Virginian mother
Hey,
or you're. I need to stop. West Virginia. No, either like as a new mother, they're pretty overprotective, so that's got to be something real spooky to have you just leave behind your kid.
Yeah, right. Well, she didn't leave him behind. She just dropped the kid for a second and then picked her up.
Still, she was fixing to.
Well,
If it was a smidge more scary, that baby would have stayed on the ground.
toss the baby to Mothman.
Mothman just wants to be a mother.
Yeah, but also the two details again.
Peering into the windows is. Ugh. Anytime, no matter what the color or size of eyes are, if it's peering at you through windows,
well, especially if this like unknown creature with giant red eyes, that's freaking terrifying. Yeah.
Yeah, that's no, thank you, thank you.
So now, in the following weeks, there were still frequent sightings of Mothman, though they began to die down a tad in 1967. That is until the tragic collapse of the Silver Bridge. It is said that on December 15th of 1967, Mothman was spotted by multiple locals who had been flying above this bridge before it had collapsed. The bridge had collapsed, causing the deaths of 46 people. It was found that the 40-plus-year-old bridge had a fracture in the suspension chain that caused the whole bridge to buckle under the weight of rush hour traffic.
Forget Mothman. That is one of my biggest fears. Anytime I'm going over a bridge, I'm like, this thing's about to collapse.
Yeah, right? Like, that wasn't a fear that I had either, but...
I don't like it. But we went over both the bridges that he was spotted at. Both the one that goes into Ohio and the other one, too. It was pretty cool. Pretty neat.
Yeah, it's a bridge. It worked. It bridged.
Yeah, it bridged the gap, and there was a pretty river, so I'll take it.
Yeah, nice.
It got me from point A to point B. Mothman didn't show up, and it didn't collapse.
Just to help out with your concerns there with bridges, because of that collapse, they actually, I can't remember the name of it, but in my research I found that they had instated in 1968 a new bridge, like it was like the Congressional Bridge Inspection Act or something like that.
Wasn't there like a thing where people were claiming that Mothman might have been like a good
whoa
spirit?
Hey, whoa! Let's not get any spoilers. We're going to talk about that. So, following this event, there have been other reports of Mothman being spotted at other disasters such as earthquakes, tsunamis, and even 9/11. Now, people have
interpreted. What about Katrina?
He left that one alone. He's not a fan of Louisiana apparently.
He said, "Let them Cajuns die."
Yeah. God, Mothman really is a scumbag, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Now, people have interpreted this creature's presence at these events in two ways. Either he was the cause of these terrible events, or a benevolent bystander trying to warn people of what was to come. And what are your thoughts on this, Fuzz?
I think if he's trying to warn people, he's doing a god-awful job of it.
Yeah, right. I like to imagine that he like can't talk, and he's just like, bzz, 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 like motioning for people, like
air traffic.
Yeah, exactly. Like, don't come on the bridge.
Why not just stand out on the bridge? Because like you flew like next to it. It's like, all right.
Yeah, and supposedly like landed on it for a second. It's kind of like watch people.
Yeah, that's not really warning nobody. So yeah, I think if he's a benevolent critter, he's not very good at it and probably needs to get fired.
Do you think he did enough meth to where he could see into the future?
That is scientific fact. That if you do enough meth and enough pills, and then smoke a whole pack of cigarettes while you're horseshoeing dip, then you can see into the future, and also Superman go around the world and turn back time.
You can break the fabric of reality and see what is to come.
Yep.
No fact.
For sure. I'm going to try it tomorrow.
Yeah. You got your weekend plans ready.
Yeah. Going to re-record this episode.
Yeah. So that is the last of the main sightings that were well documented, but there are a few reports here and there going all the way up till today, but nothing in the same detail or consistency as what's described back in 66 and 67. Now we've covered like the main sightings of Mothman. We're going to take a brief break from him and talk about something else alongside Mothman. You touched on this earlier, but there have been multiple reports of men in black talking with those who have witnessed Mothman, enough to where it's like kind of crazy, and I feel like we got to talk about it. So following the sightings in 66 and 67, it's been reported that Point Pleasant was visited by unknown people dressed from head to toe in black suits, white shirts, black ties, black shoes, which appeared immaculate. Not just the shoes, all of it, but out of style for the time.
Did they have eyebrows?
Well, I don't. That part is like iffy because I've seen. Okay, well, here. Let me finish this part. We'll talk about
Right.
like what people say about him. So they would question those who saw Mothman and then pressure the witnesses not to speak on the subject anymore. John Keel, and I'm sure you learned about him at the Mothman Museum and all that. He's the author of Mothman
Wow.
Prophecies and arguably the foremost arguably the foremost Mothman investigator that popularized the term Men in Black. He like actually wrote some books on him. I'm sorry, I didn't look too much into the John Keel part of it because frankly we're not talking about we're only talking about Mothman here. We're not really doing a whole deal on Men in Black, which we can if you guys are interested in it.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot more into it, yeah.
There's a whole lot, and a lot of stuff that gives me the creeps.
Yeah, it's pretty freaky, and John Keel has a lot of stuff on it in his books and whatnot. But one of the things that I read about is a account from Dottie Campbell, who was a friend of a reporter named Mary Eyre, Hyre, Hire? I don't know. Let's say Hire. A reporter named Mary Hire, who published multiple articles on Mothman, and she said that her and Mary were very frightened of the Men in Black. Mary had even told her that these strange men never blinked their eyes. Which, yeah, do they give you the chills? Because that gave me the chills. Like, it's not that scary of a thing, I guess, but like, if you actually think about it, you're being interrogated by like some random, government operative or whatever, and you notice they don't blink their eyes the entire conversation. That's pretty freaky, dude.
Yeah, dude, I get freaked out if like I see a cop pull up next to me. I'm like,
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm like, am I sitting right? Is
And,
this
the
legal?
cops next to you just.
I'm like 10 and 2, double checking that I'm wearing my seatbelt. I'm like, is my posture good? Will he get me if my posture's not right? But if you're getting interrogated by a dude that just like, especially nowadays where like we kind of know about the Men in Black, if that dude shows up at your door and isn't blinking and is just like, don't tell nobody about nothing, blah blah blah, just doing this the whole time, no.
Yeah, that's freaking weird.
Why? I'd shoot him.
Now, our old friend Linda Scarberry, who she was our friend with the mental breakdown, and
Yeah,
was
as
one
if
of
she
those
didn't
four.
have enough of a mental breakdown before.
Oh
the
my
Men
god!
in
Right?
Black
Yeah,
show
yeah. She
up.
hadn't been through enough after being pursued by Mothman through the streets of Point Pleasant. Yeah, she had described her own encounters with these strange men, and this is a direct quote. I'm about to read this verbatim. The Men in Black wore black suits, black hats, and sunglasses. They drove black cars. They looked like human beings, but their skin was somewhat transparent. You could see their veins in their hands very clearly. Their fingers were longer than a normal person's fingers as well. Daddy shook hands with them. It's like it's her own father, but I don't know. I just like to imagine that's how she refers to her husband. Daddy shook hands with them, and he said that they were awkward in shaking hands. They seemed not to know what to do or how to shake hands.
That's
One of the
pretty-
cars was that.
That's pretty dumb for if you have these like weird, potentially alien agents going out there. You'd think during orientation they'd be like, "Hey, by the way, humans shake hands. This is how you do it." If you're
Yeah.
interrogating somebody, they're probably gonna stick out their hand whenever they meet you.
Hey, there's like one for sure thing any American is likely gonna do.
They just sent them out there blind,
Yeah.
blind and with dry eyes.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Oh crap! I'm sorry. Humans blink. Don't forget that.
They come back to the underground base after going through Point Pleasant, and they report to the supervisor and like, did you threaten them? And they're like, oh yeah, absolutely. Actually, no, they're like, oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The supervisor's like, did you blink? And they're like, no, not once. You're supposed to blink.
You gotta
It's
blink,
like-
man. You gotta
He's
blink.
like, how was it whenever you shook their hand? And he's like, I went like that. Oh no.
So you didn't tell me they were gonna try and grab my hand. She continues saying, one of the cars would follow us around. There were 3 men in the car. The Men in Black went so far as to follow us through the drive-thru of a restaurant. We were afraid to turn around and just looked at them in the mirror.
You're telling me that these Men in Black are just like running through the Dairy Queen line?
Yeah, I love that idea too. The Men in Black say they just interrogated this lady and they're like, hey man, I sure am hungry. You're like, yeah, me too. You want to stop by the Dairy Queen? Yeah, let's go. And then like they leave.
They're tailing her. Dadgum. They're like, but I want those curds.
Yeah. Like, what are the odds?
Let's hop back out. There we go.
Yeah.
Let's steal their Frosty or whatever Dairy Queen has. Blizzard.
Blizzard, yeah. Frosties, Wendy's. Come on, folks, keep up.
I barely have anywhere to eat around here.
I don't eat at fast food restaurants.
Besides bullfrogs in the backyard.
Except for Cane's. I eat at Cane's. Cane's is great. Cane's, if you want to sponsor a podcast, let me know. But yeah, so that's like the base information you need on Mothman and the Men in Black connection. There's not like there's a lot more you could talk about with the Men in Black, but that doesn't really pertain to our episode today. So I just decided to leave it out. But if you guys at home want to hear more about the Men in Black, let us know and we can add it to our episode list. Because I mean that's something I'd like to do some research on. But I know we're trying to stick more to natural / folklore stuff. But
yeah, creatures and legends.
Yeah. But we can introduce some urban legends, if you will, here and there, if you guys would like.
Yeah, I don't want to delve too deep into conspiracy stuff.
No. This is not a conspiracy podcast.
Yeah.
What was that?
But there's some that are like really good that I'm like, ooh, like reptilians. I'll talk about reptilians all day.
Well, the reptilians, I think that one's close enough because like reptilian
and
cryptid,
real.
that's like,
and they're real.
Okay.
And they're real.
We're getting into this.
We have their bloodline.
I don't know what's going on here. More later. I'm intrigued.
The Nephilim, dude.
Oh, the Nephilim. Yeah, okay.
No, that's a separate thing. Two different bloodlines.
Well, isn't there like two?
I know all about it.
Or we'll talk more about that later. I don't know. We got to figure this out first. So,
I have it figured out.
You already have it figured out?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, yeah, we're gonna let Parker go wild on some episode in the near future. Now, one last thing before we wrap up the episode, I wanted to talk about some potential explanations for Mothman. And Fuzz, I know you already have a theory about this, right?
No, sir.
Oh, you don't?
No, I don't.
I remember. Okay. I remember you telling me something about a particular bird, but okay, we'll talk about that in a second.
No. People have said that it's maybe a sandhill crane.
Oh, that's not your theory. Okay.
No. If you look at like a picture of like, if you're looking at a sandhill crane from above, from below and it's above you, like the silhouette, it kind of looks like the general shape of Mothman.
I see. Okay.
Because their legs are really skinny, so in
don't
like
really
a
see 'em.
silhouette, you don't really see them, so it looks like flat. Then the wings, and then
A
their
skinny
head
head.
is, yeah.
Okay, I see.
But also,
And then it's got those big glowing red eyes right in the middle of its chest too, right?
yeah.
Okay.
That really gets confused.
Makes
No,
sense.
Sandhill cranes wouldn't have the wingspan or anything that these things do.
No, it wouldn't. Like it wouldn't be 10 feet, but I mean that's like still 6 feet, right? For their wingspan.
They're pretty big.
So
But
like
then again, people have the
can
best
misjudge that.
encounters. People have seen it standing in front of them.
yeah, right. One
it
thing I
just
forgot
hasn't
to
been
mention
like
too. I should have mentioned this earlier. I might edit this in at a different point as well. But it said that people have seen this creature on the ground as well, and it scuttles, and that was the term used. And I love the idea of like a little hunch, no neck Mothman, just scuttles off into the cornfield or whatever.
That's worse than it flying.
That's scarier for sure.
Rake territory.
Oh, well, let's not do that here. All right. Anyway,
Yeah.
I need to sleep
Anyway.
tonight. So
But yeah, like even if it has that general shape, if you're looking up at it, that doesn't explain the best encounters that we have. Is it standing in front of people, being that tall? It's like no sandhill crane is just like
sandhill cranes are
beaked
like
into the.
4 feet tall?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not a bird guy.
You can tell me, man.
I have no clue.
Okay.
Dude,
Well, here
Birds are
let's
not my
talk about
thing.
the other explanations, and then we can talk about them all at once. So, Sheriff George Johnson, the first person to investigate the Mothman sightings, says that he believes that Mothman was likely a large heron. So, very similar to the sandhill crane. A wildlife biologist in West Virginia University once went on record saying that he believes that it was a sandhill crane, but those who have witnessed Mothman have heavily disagreed with this theory because I'm sure for the reasons you just said, they said it was like humanoid, not a skinny bird. One man named Joe Nickel has suggested that owls may be behind the legend due to their large reflective eyes and their silhouette resembling a seemingly headless Mothman-type creature. Now, one source that I found says that this is the most popular theory, and it is also the reason why I've chosen my beverage, Two Hoots, which is a, owl. So there you go. You have to wait till the end of the episode, but there you go. Mystery solved.
Oh.
Mothman, potentially owl, therefore owl-related beverage. Anyways.
I think I was confusing. It's been a long day. I think I was in my head thinking Owl Man. And I was like, Two Hoots. Oh, it's got an owl on it. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that owls was a theory.
No,
owls is a theory. What I was getting fixated on was the Two Hoots. I was like, when is this going to come?
And Fuzz, let me tell you. Guess what's going to come back whenever we do the Owlman episode?
There's an Owlman?
Oh! A new one for Fuzz. That's exciting. Yes, sir, there is.
Wow. What about owlbears?
Yeah, we'll do an episode on the D&D monsters as well. Sure.
Sweet.
All right. So now there may be some other cooler explanations, for at least in my opinion, for Mothman that can be found in Native American lore.
Oh, I do want to say the owls, I think some of the sightings, especially like the ones that we didn't talk about today, may be owls because, I mean, especially at this time, Appalachia and West Virginia gets really dark. It's like being way off there if there's no lights, and especially in this time period.
And you see that
real
silhouette
dark
in the
outside.
air.
Yeah, it gets hard to judge distance and size.
And owls are big. Like, they're bigger than you
light.
think if you've ever seen one flying around.
Yeah, but the flip side of that is like, one, there's no owl that's just chilling with its
There's no
wings
10-foot owl. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Or 10-foot
once
wingspan,
again,
I
it
should
doesn't
say.
explain like the ones that are standing in front of people.
Well,
And also, whenever they're flying, you can see their like head. Like,
yeah.
if you're like looking up at them, you can see it.
Now, I do want to say owls also scuttle.
And plug in the video.
Yeah, plug in the video. Here's an owl running. Freaking adorable.
Copyrighted video for you to enjoy.
Yeah, no, it's a copyrighted video, but hopefully we're cool. Let's talk about some of the Native American explanations for Mothman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right.
Shout out to next episode, baby.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, we'll talk about more about that at the end of this one. So now, one legend from Shawnee lore mentions a creature that is closely resembling Mothman, or to an extent. The Wapi legend says that a family of Native Americans chose to become Whitehawks living in the forest near Point Pleasant. So maybe it's like Maui from Moana, where it's like a giant hawk thing flying around, and people see that and think like, oh my god, it's like the size of a man, but it's a bird.
But then again, that all the descriptions say it's like brown or black toe, right?
Oh yeah, all right. Well, there goes that one.
Jeez, the Shawnee are stupid.
Yeah. So
your legend doesn't explain a series of encounters from 1967 to 1969.
Jesus
Y'all are
Christ.
stupid and primitive.
You should have thought of that before you made your legends.
Yeah.
So
Stupid.
some believe that the Mothman may be an angel or a demon, or maybe the product of a blood curse placed upon the town by Chief Cornstalk, who was murdered along with his son in that same area. This is also a theory that's brought up often with the Silver Bridge collapsing. Maybe it's like a demon that was a harbinger of this bridge, tragedy.
I like the cornstalk theory. It's fun.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Now I have one last theory I want to bring up, and this is my own Zachary theory that I thought of today. Okay, so you remember that good old TNT area we talked about earlier?
Uh-huh.
So back when it was still in operation, some of the chemicals from the TNT production would seep into the surrounding pond, soil, and just like the general area, right? Now, this part that's not a theory, that's a fact. That happened. And in fact, back in 1983, the TNT area was known for being one of the country's most polluted sites. So, that happened. Now, I've heard some theories about this pollution messing with people's heads and causing hysteria, and that very well may be a thing. I mean, that That makes sense. Perhaps somebody in the TNT area was so jacked up on the chemicals that an owl became a giant man creature thing. It just looked like it was something that it wasn't. But I want to do one better. What if the polluted chemicals and whatnot turned some lowly normal critter into a mutated flying beast of nightmare? You don't know, man. Could have happened. Maybe some fisherman fell into a pond at the exact same time as a moth lost its balance in the air and plummeted into the very same pond, and what emerged was some unholy half-man, half-moth chimera. You know?
You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. That is the most credible theory I've ever
Right?
heard on.
Right?
That is exactly what happened. Write it down. Contact the MIB. Say,
Yeah, right.
Come get us, because we figured it out.
Look, I don't know why you guys are still
Interrogate us.
investigating. I got it.
It's just-
I don't know why y'all are still asking around. I already done figured it out.
I just love the idea of like this fisherman, like he's fishing, loses his footing, falls into the pond, and then like maybe his fishing pole like bats a moth out of the air, and then it tumbles into the pond as well, and it's like, oh no. And yeah.
Well, it'd be nice if it was instead of Mothman, Flyman, then it could have been a fly fisherman. And then that would have
Hey-o.
then we could have contacted Stan Lee and we would have made millions. But
Right?
born too soon, I guess.
Or
Dadgummit.
I like the idea of like the third. I think there's two The Fly movies with Jeff Goldblum, right?
Yeah.
Or Jeff Goldblum Fly movie. The third one, The Fly Fisherman.
It's him when he retires.
Yeah, and he falls into a pond, comes out a fly.
Not
Anyway.
again.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe my theory is a little too silly, but let us know in the comments what you guys think. What think you say, and thoughts.
Ha!
Okay. All right. So maybe my theory isn't the best, but I want to hear you guys' thoughts. Like, there's lots of explanations, potential thoughts on what Mothman is, and I want to hear what you guys think it may or may not be. Please let us know in the comments, and thank you guys for hanging out with us and talking about Mothman. And Parker, why don't you tell us what next week's show is going to be about?
Next week, we're going to be going through a whole host of Cherokee legends that are definitely not just made up. It was kind of put together by this researcher that was living with the Cherokee for like 3 years or something back in the 1800s. And I found a ton of stuff, a lot of fun stuff, but mainly a lot of stuff on the Uktena, which is a giant horned serpent in Cherokee legends, and it's like widespread in these old legends that I was finding. And there's a bunch of fun stuff there. The next episode is definitely going to have a pretty campfire kind of feel to it. I'm just going to be doing some storytelling, and it's going to be a legend and a logger for sure. It's going to be a lot of jokes, a lot of laughs, a lot of cool stories, a lot of funny stuff. It's going to be great. I'm excited for it.
Nice. And would you say that, what is it, Okinawa?
Uktena, I think it's pronounced. I'm going to look up pronunciation guides here.
Would you say that it's similar to Onyx from Pokemon?
More than you'd expect.
Oh, sick.
Because they have a certain geological tie
No
together. Uh-huh. Dude, I'm excited for you because
okay.
The stuff I found is wacky, and it's going to be really fun. It's up your alley.
Nice.
Whenever I first saw it, I was hyped.
Well, I'm excited to hear about it, yeah. Cool. All right, well, if you stuck around this far, we very much appreciate it. And if you enjoyed the show, please check us out on social media. We're on pretty much every social media platform with the @Legends and Loggers, just like that. And, yeah, well, I appreciate you guys watching.
Yep, thank y'all for watching. Stay wild out there.
Yep, and live life legendary.